Okay, good evening. David McCoy, Ochi Mill Properties, Real Estate Matters. Well, it's been probably a few weeks, maybe even a little bit longer than that, since I made a video. One of the reasons is that we are in, I think, the 6th week of the coronavirus pandemic measures that we've been taking as a country. And I did actually make a couple of videos. I'm not sure if I even uploaded them. And one of the reasons is because, pretty much everybody got on and started making videos about the coronavirus. And I just sort of felt like I wasn't sure that we needed one more video about the coronavirus. But it's been about 6 weeks now, and we don't know exactly when this will all be over. Different states are starting to open up now, which is very encouraging. So just kind of, now that we have gotten into this a little bit, in the immediate time after all this stuff started, I was looking at some of the research that NAR did and some of the other research that I could see, and our initial reaction was that if this doesn't last too long, we don't expect this to be a big factor in real estate. And to that point, there's still encouraging signs about that. So we have tremendous unemployment right now, hopefully short-lived, but I think we have at least 26 million people have filed for unemployment over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And so we have a very large percentage of our population out of work. We have others who are basically out of work, but they haven't filed for unemployment. We still have so many of our businesses shut down. But in spite of that, with that in mind, a number of people have delayed listing their properties, or perhaps have taken them off the market out of concern for what this might mean. And I think the financing is a little uncertain right now too, although people have been concerned about it. But the stuff I've been reading and hearing from my residential cohorts is that that seems to be going along and doing pretty well, and the rates are quite low. So what they're saying is that the research is showing that the houses that are on the market are selling, and that they're selling quickly. And so it still seems to be the case, as it was before all this stuff started, that there is a shortage of housing. That shortage will not really go away. People are going to need homes. We have had a shortage in housing for a number of years now. So again, assuming that we get through this, fairly quickly, we think that there'll be a dip. The number of houses sold and closings and all that stuff is going to drop a little bit here, but it is thought that it will come back. That's the residential market. So here we are in the commercial market. The commercial market, my initial take on that was that it would be very much like the residential market. And so hopefully it will rebound. But as I've had time to reflect on this a little bit, one of the things, so the commercial real estate market is it's just tied so tightly to the economic situation. If the economy is bad, then the commercial real estate market is also bad. It's just, you can't, there's really not a commercial real estate market to speak of if the economy is bad. And so we have to deal with that. So the long term, what happens with the commercial real estate market is to a very large extent going to see what happens here. Right now we have tremendous unemployment. That unemployment reduces demand for everything. It reduces demand for office. We're having all these layoffs right now. It reduces demand for retail. Again, we have all these layoffs and the shops are closed, and people don't know when it's going to open up again. So we are definitely going to see a big drop in the commercial real estate market for at least this quarter, and possibly two. And the longer we are shut down, the more likely it will be that it will be an extended time to be able to recoup from that, to recover from that. We're already having a number of restaurants that have said that they just have to close permanently. So those won't be coming back, or at least not those particular restaurants. Hopefully others will take their place, but we're going to have a number of businesses that have to shut down permanently. So, so with that in mind, I think that we have to be realistic about that and think about that down the road. I see no way that we're not going to have a dip in the market. I hope it is short-lived. Part of that, I think, will depend upon how things unfold here. If we have another upsurge in the coronavirus and we have to shut things down again for a while, which could happen. I mean, it actually could happen more than once. It could happen a number of times. If that were to happen, then it could be a while before everybody recovers. And that's not to be gloomy, but I think that with that in mind, you should think about that. When you're making your decisions about commercial real estate, when you're making your decisions about whether to lease space, about what to do with your tenants if you are a landlord, or, those kinds of issues, you need to be realistic about the market that we're in. Oftentimes when we're in a period of transition, people are slow to do that, and the slower you are to do that, really the longer that suffering will be. In the last economic downturn, there were a lot of, landlords and people, and they didn't want to drop their rent. They're like, well, I've been getting this rent and this is what I've been getting for all this time, and I don't see why I should settle for less. And those guys were hurt badly because there were no really people that were willing to pay that rent at that time. And so with all the vacancy they had, eventually they ended up having to drop rent anyway. And their vacancy, in the meantime, they received nothing for that. Now, please don't take this to say that we need to have doom and gloom or that we need to panic, because we don't. But I do think it would be smart to go back and kind of look at what you have, look at where you are, and develop some contingency plans. I think you should go back and figure out, what do I need to do to break even? I think that if you have existing tenants, if you have people, if they are still there, you should make whatever efforts you can. I understand that you have bills to pay too, so I'm not just saying, oh, just, forgive everything, but you can be proactive and talk to them and say, let's get through this together. I want to work with you. I don't want you to go out of business. You've been a good tenant, and I want you to remain a good tenant. What can I do to help? We can work on this together. And I think your tenants will be very appreciative of that. It may not save all your tenants. You may not be able to save all your tenants. And perhaps you should even ask them, before I commit to this, I want to help you, but I also need to see your plan and make sure I feel it's realistic, because you're asking me to kind of go out on a limb here for you. So I guess I just thought that maybe it was time to have a little talk about that. This is just my perceptions and my thoughts. I'm not presenting data on this right now. I can go back and do some data, and I probably will at some point and give some actual numbers on this stuff. But I think that we all know what we're going to find. So anyway, if you're making those decisions and you want some guidance or help on those things, give me a shout or shoot me a comment, shoot me an email, and maybe I can help with that if you'd like. And it's one of those things you need to remember in real estate with brokerage. It's both buying and selling. It's landlords and tenants. And so at any given time, you might not be able to you might not be able to sell at what you want or whatever, but you might be able to do the opposite. You know, sometimes you have to think about those possibilities. So I'm going to call that a day. That's it for now. I'll try to have a little bit more planned out video next time. This one is just kind of quite simply my thoughts on where we are today. I mean, I could feel differently next week, but today, I think today is the April 28th, I believe. That's kind of how I see it. So if you have questions, you know, if you agree or disagree, I'm interested in your opinions as well. And that's it. So have a great day. We will get through this together. We will. We definitely will. So be safe, stay well, and I will talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.